Manhattan's doing its normal I hate you traffic ballet when a car clips a pedestrian and peels off like guilt has turbo. Lowen Ashleigh, queen of bad timing, is right there. Her tote explodes, her shirt gets a red autograph, and she goes into that fun survival mode where step one is forget how to breathe. Then, a handsome stranger, Jeremy Crawford, calm, annoyingly competent, stops to help her. He steers her into a public restroom that looks like tetanus with tiles and helps scrub the horror off her collar. He's gentle, not weird. They share that fast, accidental intimacy strangers get when life just sucker punched both of them. His daughters, her mother, grief swapping baseball cards. They part ways. Weird morning, moving on. And then they meet again at the same meeting. Turns out that, plot twist, Jeremy is married to Verity Crawford, a mega best-selling author whose Noble Virtues series is unfinished. After a car accident, Verity is immobilized and can't continue. The brand, however, refuses to die. So, Lowen is asked to complete the final 3 books for a substantial payment. Lowen's unpaid bills immediately start a gospel choir. Minor detail, Verity's notes aren't neatly labeled in a drive. They live in the Crawford house in Vermont. Lowen would need to camp out there, crawl through the office, and convincingly write as the woman with a million obsessed readers. Totally normal vibes. Lowen says yes because poverty is a terrific motivator and the subway won't take integrity as fair. Doors slide shut like a judge banging the gavel. Vermont shows up looking like nature tried too hard. Pines, postcard sky, and then a red front door that's basically a spoiler. Inside, the house doesn't creak. It judges. Every floorboard sounds like, "So you're the replacement." Jeremy gives the tour with that polite, exhausted energy of someone who's been living on coffee and denial. Then the photo albums come out. We get the Crawford highlight reel. Twins, Harper and Chasten, baby crew, and a quiet note that Harper's on the spectrum. It's not a tragedy, it's context, though you can feel the family's center of gravity tilting long before anything actually falls. Lowen drops her suitcase in the guest room and remembers her favorite party trick, sleepwalking, childhood trauma, fun times. Jeremy, being Captain Sensible, installs a lock on Lowen's bedroom door from the outside so she doesn't wander at 3 a.m. and reenact The Shining with snacks. Romantic? No. Smart? Absolutely. Then, Verity. She's upstairs in a state that's halfway between Sleeping Beauty and Unplugged Statue. Eyes open sometimes, body quiet, presence loud. The house rearranges itself around her absence. Lowen heads to the office to hunt for outlines and finds a museum of Verity's mind. Notes, drafts, sticky flags like confetti, and behind a false panel, because of course there's a false panel, she pulls out a manuscript with the kind of title that feels like a dare. So be it. She reads, the voice bites. It's Verity, first person, feral devotion to Jeremy, sharp edges on every feeling. Lowen does the obvious mental math. Title page plus intimate detail plus hidden stash equals autobiography. Not a character, not method writing. This reads like a vault with the door left open. Meanwhile, the house keeps offering weird little gifts. Lowen notices the teeth marks on the headboard in Verity's pages. Then spots their twin scars in the real bedroom. Cute couple quirk or horror movie Easter egg. Either way, it's a jaw-shaped signature that lingers. Day 1 ends with Lowen staring at the ceiling, listening to a house that doesn't sleep. Lowen dives into So Be It and immediately wishes she had a hazmat suit for feelings. Verity's voice isn't diary soft, it's surgical. She doesn't fall for Jeremy, she aims. Their first date reads like an audition for the lead role in Obsession the Musical. Every line is knives, every kiss is a contract. It's compelling the way a snake is compelling. You know you shouldn't blink. Then the twins, Harper and Chasten, and Verity's prose swerves from thirsty to thorny. She loves Jeremy like oxygen and treats motherhood like a hostile takeover. From the jump, she chooses Chasten and withdraws from Harper. Chasten is radiant. Harper is a void that eats time. Verity even brags about mentally deleting Harper. Out of sight, out of mother. Diapers become data. Chasten equals attention. Harper equals theft. The manuscript doesn't hedge. It sees. back to a house that's actually paying attention. Lowen glances up from the desk and freezes. Verity is looking right at her through the window, head turned, eyes locked. Lowen does the rational thing, calls it draft physics. Sure, scientist. That night she passes Verity's room and peeks in. Verity is mannequin still, eyes open, unfocused, not tracking. Lowen waits for a blink that never comes, then decides the window thing was nerves pretending to be evidence. The next morning tries to be normal and fails. Crew toddles in with a kitchen knife and a red smear that is very much blood. Instant horror. Jeremy rushes them out, handles stitches, does the "we're fine" routine, but the incident throws a shadow over the day like an eclipse that forgot to leave. Lowen can't stop replaying it. Where did he get the knife? Why didn't anyone hear? Why does the house feel complicit? To reset pseudo-normal, Lowen and Jeremy run an errand in town. They bump into a couple of Verity's acquaintances who take one look at the duo and serve pure New England judgment. The smiles are tight, the questions are edged, and the gossip storm is clearly a hobby sport here. Lowen suddenly understands that in this zip code, everyone has a theory, and none of them are kind. Back home, Lowen keeps reading because self-care is apparently for people in safer genres. The manuscript pushes harder. Verity relishes Jeremy's attention, resents the twins for diluting it, and narrates jealousy like it's a love language. Each page is a dare. How much are you willing to believe? Lowen and Jeremy orbit closer in the quiet pockets between dread. They share small, practical tenderness. Coffee, scraped nerves, the kind of eye contact that asks, do you feel the house breathing too? Their chemistry is inconvenient and undeniable. Two people reaching for warmth while the manuscript leaves fingerprints on their spines. Lowen tells herself she's reading for research the book knows better, it's choosing its reader, and the next chapter, it doesn't just raise stakes, it picks a target. So is manuscript mode again. Verity rewinds to when the twins are infants and decides motherhood is a competitive sport she refuses to play fair. Baby Harper throws up on her, and Verity, ever the innovator, tries to force the vomit back into the baby's mouth like she's teaching gravity a lesson. Jeremy walks in, horrified, and Verity does the world's worst improv. It was an accident. Sure. And I'm the tooth fairy with a day job. Cut to present. Lowen's 32nd birthday, celebrated Crawford style, lights low, nerves high, and a cake made of dread. Jeremy tries to be sweet, and the sweetness works. The two of them finally stop pretending they're just co-workers sharing oxygen. It's tender, then hungry, then, oh good, an audience. Lowen looks up mid-heat and sees Verity on the stairs, statue still, eyes locked. It's the kind of sight that vacuum seals a scream. They tell themselves it was a trick of light because denial is free and therapy isn't. They go to sleep anyway. Morning after, the bedroom door won't open, not metaphorically, literally locked from the outside. There's a full minute where you can see the cartoon thought bubble over Lowen's head. So she walks and she locks. Jeremy breaks a window to get them out, like this is an escape room nobody asked to book. Lowen's calm fails its final exam. Meanwhile, So Be It keeps gnawing. After infant Harper's scene, Verity's attention staples itself to Chasten, the favorite. Harper becomes a ghost in her own mother's story. Then reality lands a blow no one asked for. Chasten dies at a sleepover from an allergic reaction. Grief hits the household like a truck. And in the manuscript, Verity channels that grief into a hatred that has direction. Harper. If jealousy had fingerprints, they'd be all over these pages. Back in the house, the response to terror is logistics. Jeremy locks Verity's bedroom door at night. Not exactly standard husband behavior, but we're past standard. He tells Lowen it's for everyone's safety. Translation, if Verity's faking, the theater is closed after dark. Lowen stands at the edge of telling him about the manuscript. The words line up, beg to leap, and she swallows them. She tells herself she needs proof, context, one more chapter. Truth. She's afraid of detonating whatever this fragile, quiet, terrifying thing is between them, which leaves one daughter and one story left to choose between. The one a mother wrote and the one the lake will write. Because when the water gets a vote, people drown. Back to the manuscript, and it's crueler now. Verity takes the family to the lake, and the prose slows down like it's savoring something. The canoe flips. Not a storm, not a freak wave, her choice. She keeps Crew's head above water like a lifeguard audition and lets Harper sink under, the way you'd let go of a balloon you never wanted. The paragraph sits there and doesn't apologize. Then Verity walks us through the performance afterward. The screaming, the search, the police, the grief she wears like couture. It's so precise it makes your stomach think about quitting. Lowen shuts the pages because sometimes survival is just closing a book and lying to yourself. She tells her reflection she needs more context. Her reflection is not buying it. If the manuscript is truth, they're living in a shrine to a murder victim built by the murderer. If it's fiction, it's the meanest fiction on earth. Pick your nightmare. She almost tells Jeremy. The words load in her mouth like a confession at the edge of a church pew. And then don't. It's not noble. It's not strategy. It's fear and a little hunger and the desperate hope that if she doesn't say the bad thing out loud, the bad thing won't grow teeth. Reality, meanwhile, keeps playing tag. Crew's stitches from that earlier knife incident become the household's main quest. He needs care. Jeremy needs errands. The house needs to stop feeling like it's breathing. The adult in the room, allegedly Lowen, decides she needs proof before flipping their lives. The kind that doesn't come on letterhead from a psychopath author voice. So she makes a plan, not a good plan, not a safe plan, but a plan with batteries. Eyes in the one room where truth keeps pretending to sleep. It's the kind of choice you make when your options are A, ignorance, or B, terror, with receipts. Jeremy grabs keys, the front door closes, the house exhales. Lowen stands outside Verity's locked room with a baby monitor and a heartbeat that thinks it's auditioning for percussion. If this woman is truly comatose, the screen will show stillness. And if she isn't, then Lowen's about to meet the version of Verity that doesn't need a pen to be dangerous. So Lowen plants the baby monitor like she's wiring a nature documentary. The elusive bedroom panther in her native habitat. Camera goes on. Nothing. Just the pale geometry of a woman-shaped secret under blankets. She waits. The screen hums. Her conscience hums louder. Then the blankets move. No nurse. No Jeremy. Verity peels herself out of the bed like a rumor becoming a person and slides onto the floor. She doesn't wobble. She doesn't reach for help. She crawls, slow and efficient, like someone who's been rehearsing when the lights are off. The monitor catches it all. Hands, knees, deliberate focus. Lowen's breath does a disappearing act. Okay, so Sleeping Beauty wakes up when no one's clapping. Good to know. Front door, keys, voices. Jeremy's back from Crew's Stitches mission. Lowen sprints to fetch him with the speed of a conscience on fire. They hurry upstairs, burst in, and Verity's tucked in again, face arranged into museum-level serenity. If innocence wore pajamas, it would look exactly like this. For a second, Jeremy's face runs through the 5 stages of grief and lands on, I want to believe you, but reality keeps punking me. Lowen isn't guessing anymore. She looks Verity dead in her open, empty eyes and does the scariest thing she's done so far, stands her ground. Verity's response is not blink, it's menace. A micro expression, a flicker, the kind of movement you'd miss if you didn't want to live. Jeremy spots just enough of it to snap. He yanks Lowen back as if the bed has teeth. The room tilts from, we might be paranoid, to, we're not paranoid enough. Lowen does the nuclear option. She grabs So Be It, slaps it into Jeremy's hands, and says the 4 words that end marriages or save lives. Read the whole thing. Time dilates. Jeremy sits. Pages turn. The house holds its breath. Lowen watches his face as what she read climbs into his head. The obsession, the cruelty, the lake. There's a point, exact moment unknown, but you can feel the air temperature drop when he crosses from disbelief to certainty. It's not tidy. It's not purely rage. It's grief discovering it has a spine. He looks at Verity, and Verity opens her eyes. What happens next isn't a conversation, it's a verdict. Jeremy moves with a kind of calm that's worse than yelling. Lowen, shaking, assists, because once you believe the manuscript, helping has a new definition. The method is brutally simple, a dark mirror of a scene Verity once narrated about an infant in a mouth. Breath goes where it shouldn't. Breath stops. The room goes quiet in a way it hasn't been since Lowen arrived. After, there's the terrible admin. Wipe, straighten, agree. They will not call the police. They will not hand the town their story on a platter. They will fold this night into a secret and call it protection of crew, of themselves, of the lie they can live with. They go to bed beside a silence that finally feels honest. Morning will ask for explanations. They will have them ready. But time has a mean sense of humor. 7 months from now, the house will answer questions no one asked, and it won't be with words they chose. 7 months later, the house looks smaller, maybe because Lowen's pregnant now and Hope takes up space. They've come back to prep the place for sale, box the past, label it Misty, and never open it again. Crew, professional truth grenade, pipes up, Mom used to hide stuff in the floorboards. Cool, thank you, Junior treasure map. Lowen kneels, pries up a plank, and there it is. The missing knife and a letter from Verity. Handwriting like a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. The letter does not apologize. It rebrands. According to Verity, so be it wasn't confession, it was craft. Antagonistic journaling. Method writing. She writes the worst thing a character could do to find the story's teeth. In this version, Harper's drowning was an accident, and the monster is context, not her. Also, extra spice, Verity claims Jeremy once read the manuscript, assumed it was truth, and caused the car accident, as in, he tried to kill her first. Lowen reads it twice and hates both universes. If the manuscript was truth, they judged correctly and did something unforgivable. If the letter's truth, they judged wrong and did something unforgivable. Heads, guilt, tails, guilt. The coin is rigged. She makes a decision that isn't noble, just necessary. She burns the letter, paper buckles, ink runs, and one version of reality goes up the chimney like a ghost that can't resist drama. She tells herself she chose her family. She tells herself some stories don't deserve oxygen. Ash settles. The house is finally quiet, like a stage after the audience leaves. Lowen presses a hand to her stomach, listening for a kick, a sign, anything that says, you picked right.